Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. My name's Tom Novak, and today we're going to do part 2 of I'm going to show you how I plant one of Roy's trees. This is green Mound Juniper. Today is Monday the 24th of May. It's 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 14 degrees C. It's early in the morning, and it's a good time for doing your planting. Today, the soil I'm going to add into her, I'm trying to mimic their soil from Evergreen Plant Nursery. I'm going to use 1 part worm castings, 1 part peat moss, 1.5 parts Reptile Bark, 1.5 parts sand. And then before I put the plant into the pot, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of Mykos at the bottom of the root table and dust the roots with Azos. So let me get this all here so I don't forget it. There we go. Okay, here's our tree. Let's get it out of the bag. First thing to do is cut off these ties. And then cut the bag open so we can get our tree out. The scissors don't want to go in my hand today. I don't know why. But what are you going to do? Just bear with it. Take it apart. Now we got to reveal some of the root base before we do anything else. So before I remove everything out of the bag, now they have the tree tied in. So I'm going to try and cut off the wire tie. Got it. Take our little bamboo skewer out that they put in there, and any more of, I think it's out. Yep, it fell down. Okay, so let's take the tree out of the bag, dump the excess soil out, throw the bag in the garbage. I took one of Roy's pot. I'm using this as a sacrificial pot because I want to see how much of the root base I need to fit it into the pot. My first try, the root base was so massive I had to put it into another pot. But I'll show you the finished product of these. First, right now I'm going to try to reveal the root base where it goes into the trunk. They got it buried deep. Now you can't really see the trunk with all the needles there. So I put in made a fresh batch of peroxide into my cup. And now, since that's so close to the soil line, I'm going to dip and clip some of this excess growth off the bottom, so we can see where our trunk really grows, because this thing has beautiful, beautiful leaves, branches growing from the bottom of the base. Now, since my video doesn't last long, I have to do this in stages, so I'll do the trimming a little bit later on. But right now I just want to reveal the trunk line. Okay, let's get some of this out of the way. Remember to dip and clip, because sometimes that spreads bacteria if you don't sterilize your pruning shears every so often. And you don't want to ruin a good tree for that. Okay, now we're going to take our root rake. Try to get some of this excess soil in. The roots are really packed in tight. You can see the bark mixture that they have in here for drainage. It's really hard to get the roots raked out with all the heavy bark in there. You can see the bark, all that bark in there. It's all thick, big chunks of bark. I use Reptile Bark because it's a little smaller and it's easier to work with. It's a bit more natural. I mean, it's natural. I just don't want to get the bugs in there for Roy if I use regular pine bark or anything like that in the stores. So Reptile Bark is pretty good. Okay, let's take the soil, dump that out. And now we'll put the tree in water and let's jiggle it around to get most of that soil off the root base. Look at that root base. What a beauty. So now I'm going to put it in like this, and you can see that I need at least about a third of the root base off. So now, because since there's a lot of wood and stuff, I have to use a good set of shears, so I'm going to designate this as my root cutter, and then get another pair later on. And what I'm going to do is to cut, because these are nice and sharp. We're going to cut it until it fits. And then the pruning goes to help reduce some of the stress level of having at least a third of its roots taken off. See the big chunks of wood that you cut into? Now exactly what kind of wood they use on here, I have no idea. That's why I use the Reptile Bark. It's a nice strong root here. And we got a nice thick bamboo skewer stuck in there. Throw that out. And I think there's a big piece of bark in here. We need to flatten it out. Now you don't want to take too much off, because right now this is a young tree. And I know this is off a little bit, but it could be a nice windswept look. We cannot fit a lot of it in because of all this bark there, so let me just take a little more off. I don't want to take too much off because I want this thing to live for Roy. So I think in that corner like that will be good. Got everything set. Let's put it in the water. Now, see, that's why you use a sacrificial pot if you got one, just to get everything measured out on trees like this. And then all I got to do is wash it real good and plant it. Plant another tree in there. Get a paper towel. Get the clean pot. Now we got, let's see which side of the pot looks better. Now see, you got to look at to see which is the front of your pot. See, this you want as the back of your pot because you can see how the glaze is and cover it all. So we're going to use this as our front of the pot. Now we're going to take our mixture out. Hold in our screen. Put it in. And then we're going to take a teaspoon of our Mykos beneficial bacteria. I get that as a nice root enhancer. So I got a nice teaspoon of that. I'm just going to sprinkle it all over the bottom. So this will help the roots to recover. Remember, close your bag because you don't want no moisture getting into your beneficial bacteria when you're not using it. And then we got our Mykos here that we're going to touch base with, but first I'm going to get the beneficial bacteria in there a little bit better. Put our spoon on the side. Get our tree out of the pot. Now remember, that's our front. Get our root base in. And we got it a little bit off center, so it's there we go. Have like a little bit of a windswept look. So now we're going to take, this is going to be where you got to really work your soil into the roots. And before we do any more, we're going to get this in, get all the air pockets out, and then we're going to take our Azos and hit the roots. Well, many of you lost the Lone Ranger. It's not a cloud of dust and a high silver. That's just the dust from the Mykos. But there we go. Get our soil in. And we're going to pull our tree back a little bit. Get that mixture into the soil the best we can, because you want to get rid of all the air pockets in here. Let's use your fingers to push the soil into the crevices, and you can see a lot of airspace there. Pull it back like that. Sometimes your fingers work good, better than the old chopstick. If you got arthritis, just use a chopstick, or you can use the bamboo that it comes with. It's a little bit thicker, so you can get it into the roots better. And see, it fits, but you just now, once this is done, after I do the cutting before I do the cutting in the next video, I'm gonna just put this in the shade for now, so it gets used to everything. I'm going to say, Tom, it's in the middle. But I do not want to do nothing more to this tree, because I want this tree to grow at least a good year, because, you know, they dig it out, they bag it for shipping, then it goes through shipping. So this little tree goes through a lot of stress. That's why we're doing it this way, to maintain as many roots as we can. And then, once this video uploads, I'll do another one, so you can see how I prune it, because I do not have much time on this tablet to do it. There we go. Sterilize my pruners. Okay, now let's give it some water. Let's water it in. Got to give the soil a good chance to soak in. It's best to mimic the grower's media when you do a potting, something like this, where you get a nice big tree, because this way here, the tree is used to this soil. If I can do something completely different, if I did it early in April, then the roots would get a chance to get used to a different type of soil, because it's much cooler outside now with the weather being all crazy. One time it's hot, one time it's cold, but that's spring. That's Chicago. There we go. I'm glad for these cooler days, because the roots will love it, because that's going to grow. Okay, we got it in. Nice. And then we'll prune it. At least you can see, as this is the front, you can see more of the trunk. So we'll do a little more pruning once this video uploads. Right now I got to give it some more water. and I'll take it in the shade. Let it rest till tonight when I can do part 3 of the pruning. Right now you can see the bubbles going through, letting it all soak through. And that's how you fit it into a smaller container. So don't be afraid to do it. I mean, if you're afraid of doing something, you're not going to be able to learn to do it. I killed a lot of trees, but that's the only way I learned. And if you take more than a third off, it usually puts too much stress on the tree. Now right now, I'll do the pruning tonight. Let this video upload. And then this way here, you'll see how what I look at after, and I can put a higher pot here so you can see how I do my pruning on these little trees. So today's Monday. I want to thank all you subscribers. I got 200. Thank you, Alex, for letting me know I got 200. It's hard for me. I have to really look and see how I find these subscribers on YouTube. You know, how many you got. I think it's in the corner someplace. I have to look. But we'll do this tonight. Once this uploads, we'll do the pruning. Tonight is Monday night. I usually watch I listen to old time radio with a nice hot cup of tea. I like some of the old comedies like Fibber McGee and Molly, Burns and Ellen. I like the Bickersons, Duffy's Tavern, Life of Riley. That's pretty good. Okay, everybody. See you in part 3 tonight, hopefully. And take care, everyone. See you later.